Hey, I know that song. Hey, and away we go, everybody. Welcome in. It is time for Three Guys Before the Game. Got you a good one. Rasheed Marshall gonna pop in. Tell us about his new gig. So we can call it a Rasheed Marshall Visits episode.
I don't know why it took so long.
You got to go through about 9 layers of people before you can get to the guy.
That is true.
I mean,
saying he's not accessible? Saying he's like me, you can't get to him?
Guy throws up more barriers than a gated community. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit burdettcamping.com. By Go-Mart, where the egg extravagant prizes continue to the end of this month, including a $500 Go-Mart gift card. We have a portion of their website. You want to sign up for their rewards card, great savings on gas, food. Register for the contest. Go to gomart.com/3guys. gomart.com/3guys. Our program is brought to you by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. And by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Check them out on their website at LouWendellMarineSales.com. That's Lou Wendell, 2 L's in Wendell. Wendell.
Right together.
LouWendellMarineSales.com. Same thing with the T's for Burdett Camping. The T's are next to each other. Gomart, no duplication of letters. Comax, they do have an X, which is kind of unique and different. All right, let's jump in here, man. A lot of stuff to get into. Lots of stuff. Because unannounced, Hoppy took an unannounced field trip over the weekend, which is a massive step for him.
Yep.
Big news. I mean, just came in, told us about it.
I was all excited.
Stunner. We've taken a guy who can't order his own food at Subway. He went to the baseball game with the Mountaineers on Saturday at the Big Boy Stadium, right?
Guess who ordered the food and the beer at the Sudeco counter?
The wife.
Karen.
Yeah. The wife, yeah. That's a step. You went out in public. That's fine. You're moving.
That's true. You can't get it all back at once.
That's right.
Yeah, you're moving.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
And
had a great time.
Yeah, and another big step for you is going to be our live event, which is coming up here in just 11 days as we record on Friday the 21st. And tickets went on sale what day was it? Last week.
Yeah.
Late last week.
Someday last week.
Someday last week. Well, they all seem to kind of blur together. You throw in Easter, you throw the fact that Hoppy went to a baseball game. My head's just swimming in all of this. But we do have a few limited number of tickets remain. If by chance you got shut out last time, thought you couldn't get in this time, we've got tickets for you at the3guys.com. the3guys.com before the game. I guess I got to throw that in there too. 3 Guys Before the Game. That's
I think that's the name.
Yeah, 3 Guys Before the Game is the website. The 3guysbeforethegame.com. And we're going to have a super fun Friday. And the way the weather's going now,
it's looking good.
I mean, might wear shorts, have a beach ball. Just do a
Bring some sand in, put some sand on the back porch there.
This is going to be really good. So we invite you to check out all the details on that. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. We'll talk about Hoppy's excellent adventure over the weekend. But first, let's bring in the newest member of the WVU football staff, friend of this program, buddy of ours, Rasheed Marshall, joins us on the show. Hello, sir. How are you?
Guys, how we doing? Listen, before we go any further, all right, we need to pick the energy up. I don't know if you guys are on West Coast time right now. The calmness. Let's go. Let's pick it up. Let's wake this. Let's get lively.
Wait,
huh?
Classic Rasheed.
Wait a second. You think this sounds a little down?
It's feeling a little calm. There's a calmness about it.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes calmness makes me a little nervous.
Okay.
I like some energy in there. You know?
All right. Okay. Well, hang on. We'll do one thing for you. Okay. We now go here to near the football stadium with Rasheed Marshall. Rasheed, hello. How's that? Pretty good. Give him a big.
There we go.
There you go. All right. So you've
What's
been.
up, guys? How we doing?
Everything's
Good,
good, man.
Rasheed. Good to talk to you.
Good. Hoppy
Always.
went on a field trip, so it's all good. We're working on that. He's working on his social skills.
I'm gonna have to have a word or two with Hoppy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've been making news of late, and I know, knowing you, a couple things that people might find interesting about you is that you don't like making news, and that you're low key, and you like to kind of like this was not the first thing you wanted to do when you woke up this morning, but because of friendships, you say, "Yeah, I'll do it." But you don't love like being out front center, which is kind of unusual because that's what you did. I mean, you were under. You got to touch the football all the time and all that kind of stuff. Is that a fair assessment?
That is a fair assessment. You know what? It's funny because I feel like I go through waves. I tend to ride the center line, but I can do without it. But again, on some days, I'm just ready to go and I can accept all of it. But for the most part, I just kind of ride that center line because I think you get conditioned over time to, especially being a quarterback, as you just mentioned. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. And I think it's spilled over into just like my everyday personality. So, yes, I think that is pretty accurate. But today, listen, when Brad texted me, I actually got excited, to talk to you guys. Listen,
how about
we're family,
Yeah.
We have history, and you guys are family to me. So this is one I got excited for. You can believe that one.
That's outstanding.
You were so. What exactly are you going to be doing now with WV's football program? What's your role?
Yeah, so man, it's I think the best way to describe this is, it's almost a role of many hats. It definitely is. But when Coach Brown and I met, it was almost like that Bruce Lee quote that came up. Where it's like, be formless, be shaped, you're like water. So there's a lot of different hats to wear. And if you just took water out of a cup and you poured it somewhere, it's going to get into all the cracks, So you can call it a facilitator. You can call it a mentorship role. You can call it, you can call it a coaching role. But, you're basically just filling the gaps between the coaching staff, so many different services that WVU football offers to its players right now, as far as mental health, academics. There's just so many different services, but I kind of fill the role because some of those guys might not want to jump right into the office of one of the services. So I need to be the guy to sit down, hey, let's talk this through, and I can get them to take that next step. So, it's a great role. It's been great so far, and I'm looking forward to really advancing this thing.
Knowing you like we do, and for as long as we have, this would seem to be a pretty natural fit for you to be around the program or within the program like this. Kind of take us back and how it developed, how your conversation started with Neil, and how you came to accept this position.
Yeah, so not too great.
Hold on.
He's cell breakup.
Restart.
You still there?
Yeah. Can you guys got me?
Why'd you move?
All right.
I mean, why did he move? You promised he was going to stay. He moved out of the pocket. Don't you think he moved out?
He started scrambling.
He started scrambling because he has to scramble.
Yeah,
he would do that though.
All right, stop scrambling.
Hey, you guys know I have that hat. I can pull out anytime. Get out of the pocket, call an audible.
Tuck and go.
Tuck and go. So, as you guys know, I was involved in training for a very long time. Also worked in broadcasting alongside with you guys and some other networks. Now, I think everything runs its course. Love training, love broadcasting. But I did get to a point to where I wanted to see what was next. The guy who was in the role prior to me accepting the position, we had a relationship. He ended up posting something on his social media. I saw it, and I didn't waste a second to pick up the phone and call down to, the guys in the building just to get more information on it. I was in town for an unrelated event. Actually, Tony, we sat down on the panel for the guys headed up to New York, which was
right.
directly related to WV football. And at that point, that's when the process started. So we sat down, talked a little bit, very informal. I went down a separate time. We got to talking a little bit more. This time it was a little more in depth. And, yeah, we were able to make it all happen. So I'm excited about it. They were excited. And it seemed very, very easy, very seamless in the process.
This wasn't the first time, though, that you've thought about coaching or being involved in the program, right? I mean, this has kind of been in the back of your head, or it's popped up at various times since you've been done playing, I assume?
It has. And actually, as soon as I was done with the NFL, which was fairly quick, I wanted to get into coaching. Now, for whatever reason, I think life gives you different directions. It gives you avenues. It wasn't my time, I felt like mentally I wasn't where I needed to be to step into a coaching role. And as you guys know, at that level, you need to be all in. And if you're not, you can't step into that arena because it's just going to swallow you. And I wasn't ready. There was a lot of other things I wanted to pursue before I got to this point in life. And, fast forward the clock, however many years later, here we are. So I thought the timing was perfect. And it's definitely something I've had my eye on for a while.
Did you have any second thoughts or hesitation, because clearly this is a pivotal year for Neil Brown and staff? Worst case scenario, and I hope it doesn't happen, obviously, but worst case scenario is that this would be Neil Brown's last year, which would put you in a questionable spot. Did that cross your mind?
Yeah, great question, Hop. It definitely did. But, I can't look at it from that perspective. Yes, from a business standpoint, it's going to come up. You think about it. But, if you take too much time thinking about what could go wrong, you're never going to make advances in life. And for me, I just thought, listen, if the opportunity is here, you need to take it. And regardless of what happens in the future, like you said, obviously I'm hoping for the best. I'm expecting the best. But, if things don't go as planned, I handle it from there. I think that the university in itself has been great to me. I've been great to the university, built a lot of great relationships. So, if I have to look into the future, I don't think there's going to be an issue with, advancing from that position. So we'll worry about that when the time comes.
It has been almost 20 years since you last played at West Virginia. Okay. So I know you're beginning to develop the relationships with the players. And as you said, I think that's a great word. You're a facilitator. You're a liaison now between player and coaches. That's your job. Have you noticed initially any significant change in the mindset or the world or the culture that the players today have that maybe is different from when you were a student athlete?
Oh, yeah, from day one. Now, I will say this. Naturally, walking into the building on day one, you just revert back to what you remember. And obviously things were completely different back then. All the way down from how the building looks to the coaching staff, everything is different. And just the new school type of players that are being recruited, just the whole process, again, services available, as we all know, NIL, everything is different. So it's almost night and day, compared to back when I was walking those halls.
Mm-hmm.
The mindset of these guys are much different. They're much more developed. I made a point to one of my good friends that I think a lot of these guys are coming in so much further developed in terms of a skill set, mentally as well. But in terms of playing the game in itself, a lot of these guys are way beyond their years, because now you have private coaches everywhere. I was one of them. So you're now arriving on campus as a player, as a student athlete, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's prevalent amongst all of these guys stepping on campus, they're ready to go. And that, to me, is just eye-opening, because before, if you remember, it was, all right, we're going to get you here, we're going to redshirt you, we're going to let you get into the weight room, we're going to let you develop. If you played as a true freshman, you were like a unicorn. So a lot of these guys are ready to go immediately. And to me, that is eye-opening.
And yet what's not changed is the relationship part of it, and the relationship that needs to exist between player and coach. And I was thinking about this driving in. You draw a remarkable line through the history of West Virginia football when you think recruited by Coach Nealon, played for Rich, close to Coach Stu as a position coach and assistant coach, now on to Neil Brown. So really only not being on Dana's staff was the one missing link as you go back, what is that, am I 45 years back? So if you start when Coach Nealon started.
If you go into Coach Nealon, yeah, in
right?
1980.
So you're that's a heck of a line through there. There's not many guys that have the connection to each of those that I just mentioned. So maybe what do you take from each of those guys? How do you take what is different now than from when you played and mold that into this new school thing that you just referenced?
Yeah, that's a great point. And honestly, I never thought of that. I mean, that's eye-opening to me. But, I think the main thing is to know that you can go back each era and pull something that's going to be something that you can apply to today's game, whether it be the physical toughness that Coach Nealon preached, or, just that hard-edge mindset that Coach Rob preached. There's something that you can pull from each era and apply it to today, because, again, the game is completely different now. And, I don't know how it is as a coach, because if you get on these guys, and I'm not speaking WVU players exclusively, I'm just saying across the map, across the whole landscape of it all, you coach these guys up a little too hard. They don't like it. They don't like the position they're in. They can leave. They can transfer without penalty. And I think that's one thing that you do have to take into account here, because, again, it's just evolved into what it is. So there's definitely things that you can take from each era. And, hey, if you get the right combination, you get the right recipe, as a coach, as a player, whatever it is, being a player myself in my role right now, it can truly be just the true what's the word I'm looking for? It could just be the ultimate recipe for success.
Mm-hmm. Rasheed Marshall is with us. When we had Pat White on, did he say he was faster than Rasheed?
Why do you do this every time to him?
Let's do it. All right.
Why do you do this every time to Rasheed? Every time Rasheed's on, you have to do this.
So that's what he does to Rasheed, kind of like
every time.
What I do to Andre Johnson about fumbling?
Yes.
Same
every
thing.
time he does it to Rasheed.
Wait, I think I figured it out. Hoppy.
Yeah.
You don't believe it. That's what it is. You don't believe it. You don't believe it. Everyone else believes it except you. That's what it is. I figured it out. It's taken me a while, but I figured it out.
So what do you think?
Remember,
Hoppy?
I told Pat, I said it. I said, listen, we will race. We will get to the bottom of it, and from there it dies. It's over.
Well,
You think White's Pats weren't running scared? Is what you're saying?
Who's in better shape? Who's in better shape today?
Rasheed.
Rasheed is.
Not to say Pat isn't, but I mean Rasheed. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, Pat. I would think at this point, in the NFL's probably, they probably have some, some fast food that comes into the building here and there. Rasheed's down the weight room, right?
We would have when he was on.
Guys, I will say this real quick. Over the past 3 weeks, I've noticed a huge difference in, how I have to distribute my time. Now,
hold on. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I'm not spending as much time working out as I once was. I mean, it is what it is. Now, I find ways. I'm slowly developing my routine, my schedule, but over the past 3 weeks, and actually maybe 4, because, you have to take into account leading up to me getting back to Morgantown. But, it's been – I'm off my game, I will say.
Well, so now you know why during game day broadcasts I'd have to go out and grab a handful of M&Ms instead of the chia seeds you would eat. Now, see, welcome aboard. Yeah. Now you see why we ate those M&Ms.
Exactly.
Hey, Sheed, have you tried out any of the body recovery stuff down there that wasn't around when you were here? Like, have you gone into the depth perception thing and that whole deal?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And again, that just speaks volumes to how everything has changed and what's available. Now, I am one to, I have a lot of the recovery stuff already, just a lot of different modalities, the Theragun, the Normatec boots, all that stuff is made for recovery. And, you know, Coach Mike Joseph is the best of the best. He's going to be able to get these guys stronger, faster. Recovery is a huge deal in his program because, you know, you put in all this work, you get to go upstairs, you eat, you recover, but, you know, you have to take it a step further. And being a student athlete in 2023 requires a lot. It's very demanding, and he preaches sleep. He preaches hydration. We also have a nutritionist who works. They work hand in hand. So, man, it's just so many different things that these guys can take advantage of to truly walk around at peak performance levels every second of the day. It's unbelievable.
You mentioned transferring earlier, and we certainly can't have a conversation about college sports without talking about the transfer portal. Is that an area you see as one of your strengths or one of your roles is to help be, you mentioned liaison earlier too, as a guy that's not necessarily a coach, but you're not necessarily in the locker room with those guys as a pure player. You kind of sit in between there with a lot of life experience. Is that part of what you see your role is, talking to these guys and helping to make sure they make good decisions on whether or not they should stay or can stay or whether it's beneficial to stay?
Oh, without a doubt. And I think that extends far beyond, you know, the transfer portal. But, for instance, I had a conversation with Jalen Thornton right before we left. And, you know, I use him as an example because he's a guy, he's going to have great overhead leadership. His father, John Thornton, if you don't know, all-time leading, you know, defensive tackle for West Virginia. He's in the Hall of Fame. He just has great leadership. He can go to his father to kind of guide him along. Now, there may be some other players who they don't have that luxury. So I can sit down with these guys, talk to them. Hey, what's your future plans? As you mentioned, Brad, I've kind of lived my life through this point. I understand where I made mistakes. I understand great decisions I've made. So with that being said, I'm trying to get some of these guys to understand the big picture. When you aim small, everything's going to be kind of condensed and closed down. So I'm trying to open up their minds to have them understand, listen, yes, I hope you go to the NFL. And 90% of those guys in that locker room, they're going to tell you they want to go to the NFL. 10% of them will tell you, listen, I know the NFL is not in my future. I want to get a great degree and go work. I need to be the one to let these guys know, listen, even if you do make it to the NFL, you're going to need something to fall back on. I made it, but it was very short-lived. I'll be the first to tell you, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do after that was over. And I found myself in a position to where, like, okay, I wasn't scrambling, but I needed to make a decision. And I wasn't sure because I didn't have that plan in place, because I was one who I didn't have the overhead leadership. Two, I wasn't sure what my life plans were, or at least what I wanted to do to get that ball started. Mm-hmm. And if you can't get that process started prior to, you don't think it through, you're going to be a little stuck. Luckily, I was able to, you know, I made it all happen, but right now it is my job to get these guys to see the big picture.
Well, and I'll go further. Not to tell you what your story is, because you know your story well, but I'll go further. You did find your path, even though it's looked a couple of different ways, or there's been multiple iterations of that. But I also think you're a living, breathing example of what so many of these guys miss while they're in the moment, of what it means when you do stick and you do have success and then you stay in that geographic area, that you come back 20 years after you played and are able to hook on with a staff that you had no affiliation with. You will forever be one of the greats to play here, regardless of who the head coach is, right? And that's something that if you had moved to California, are you still one of West Virginia's great players of all time? Yes. But does it resonate the same way if you're in California versus in this geographic region? So I would think you provide another example that they can look to and say, this is what happens. If you stay in this area as a great football player at West Virginia, those doors are open forever for you. Agree?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And listen, when I look back on it, Coach Stewart told me something that it will never, ever leave my mind until the day I leave this earth. He said to me, and he looked me directly in the eyes, he said, listen, your life's going to change. It's going to change very soon. And this was my redshirt freshman year, if I'm not mistaken. He said, you need to approach this lifestyle that you're about to adopt here as A, a privilege, and B, one that you need to continue to stay level-headed, continue to stay humble. He said, when you walk through these doors, you're going to treat every single person, all the way up from the head coach down to the custodian, to the janitor, the same way you would want someone to treat your mother. And I say that to say this. The relationships that I've built, the people that I've crossed paths with, being able to treat them with respect, and not saying that, hey, I'm only doing this to make sure I'm going to be positioned well in the future. No, it's just being a good person. So to your point, you do what you need to do. You go to class. You do what you need to do on the field. Don't be a knucklehead. Stay out of trouble. Everything's mapped out for you. I mean, success is literally waiting for you. And I can look back on it. I can check off all those boxes, say I did this, all of that to position me where I am today.
Yeah, well, it's super well said. And Don Nealon used to say this. When people would ask him, what is your graduation rate? He would say 100%. And they'd say, wow, 100%. He said, yeah, 100% of my guys that want to graduate. And the point was, if you do what Rasheed just said, if you just make your commitment, it can change your life. I think that's the most exciting thing, Rasheed, about your new job. You don't know when you're going to have your one-time Bill Stewart conversation that he had with you, and it could be a passing comment that you give to one of the current players that will resonate with them forever, that could absolutely change the direction of where they're going for the rest of their life. If you can just touch one, that's priceless. But you're going to be in a position, and you are in a position, where you could touch tens and tens and tens and tens through the course of time. And 20-plus years from now, they're going to say, you know, Rasheed Marshall told me X, and that's why I did Y, and now here I am at Z. That's the real victory of all time right there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I tell you what, let me give a qualifier to that, because I think that Rasheed has always been, we'll talk about it like he's not here, I think Rasheed has always been a character guy, okay? So that makes him receptive to those kinds of messages. So he was on a path to maturity and to make good decisions.
He was mature beyond his years.
Yeah. I mean, he's always. I mean, I remember when he played, when he interviewed him. I mean, he's the same guy. I mean, he's more knowledgeable now, but I mean, he's the same guy. So I'm saying that not everybody comes in, Rasheed, to the football program as ready to learn as you were. Okay.
Yeah,
that's true. Let's keep talking like he's not here.
Okay.
That's true, but the magic is grabbing the ones that are not mature yet when they do some things that you would want to just shake them for a little bit and say, what are you doing? To have the patience to walk them along, because eventually the light bulb does come on at some point for them. Now, it could be while they're here. It could be a year after they're here or 4 years after they're here. But you got to plant the seed, and there is a chance it'll still grow, but you're not going to get Rasheeds. Rasheeds are the exception to the rule, where guys that have their stuff together. You got to get the kids that have some misperceptions and immaturity and help them, shepherd them, is what it is.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. I will say this. You know, for me, it was always because. All right, let's peel back a layer here. Now, growing up, I had a relationship with my father, but he wasn't always around, you know, and we didn't have the type of relationship to where he sat me down and said, oh, hey, listen, this is how it needs to be done. This is the path you need to go. I learned all of that stuff. My mother was very instrumental in a lot of that, but for me, it was people in place who were mentors, who were coaches, who were just there to just genuinely help. So once I got to that point, I was already humble. I was very open to receiving knowledge and just guidance. So being at Valley Forge, I was able to learn a lot more about myself before arriving to WVU. I was away from home for a year. I had to grow up. So again, you learn a lot about yourself when it's just you. You start figuring things out. I got on campus, and who else better to listen to than Coach Bill Stewart? So when he said that, I was just open to it. And sure enough, each day, each week, each month, it all started to evolve into exactly what he said. So, I've always put my trust into the people who has tried to help and position me to just do well. So I think a lot of that, it's just a recipe of things that you just put all together, and that's what you get. I wish I had the guidance, that leadership from a father figure, but it came from other places. So.
All right, one more circle of life question or moment here. You mentioned Stu. Now you're on the same staff with what was little Blaine when you were playing. Have you had a moment? Have you walked through the halls or sat in a meeting and Blaine's sitting over there as one of the coaches? You're on the staff where you thought, wonder what Stu would think of this right now. Here's Rasheed and Blaine sitting in the same coaches meeting.
I have, and it's unbelievable because, again, I tell this story all the time, and it is hilarious. I remember, so Blaine would come in from his elementary school. I want to say it was either St. Francis or –
yeah, you're right. It was St. Francis. Yeah, it was St. Francis. Yeah,
St. Francis, right. So he would come in. He would have his powder blue shirt on, like his khakis, and he's coming in from school, and we are in there watching film or whatever. And Coach Stu, as we all know, he was a wild guy. So he would stop. Blaine would come in, lights are out, and he would make Blaine turn the lights on and go around the room to each guy sitting at the table and greet them one by one. So he would come in. He would go, "Hi, Rasheed. Hi, Derek. Hi, Brad. Hi, Scotty." And every single guy got the same exact greeting, and it was hilarious. We laugh about it every single day. But, I'm very cautious with bringing up a lot of stuff to him in that regard because, A, I don't want to open up any wounds to where things can get emotional. You know what I mean? Yes, we have our moments. We talk about different things. But I do think about a lot of stuff because, you just think about if Coach Stu was still here and he was able to see this, what would he think? He left his legacy on this program and gone a little sooner than we would all have liked to see. But he left his legacy on this program, whether it been as a coach, head coach, whatever it is. And now to have your son with his own position group, it's just unbelievable to me. The story is amazing. And speaking of, I give Blaine a lot of credit because he's doing a heck of a job with the tight ends. And I can't wait to see, where his future goes and how he blossoms as a coach.
You mentioned something that I forgot, that you prepped at Valley Forge, and that also opened up something in my mind. Was there some connection with Donnie Young and someone up in Pittsburgh that got you to West Virginia? Was that you?
Yeah. Yes. So here's the thing, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because this story is deep. So Coach Young's daughter and my mother worked together. They worked together at so the name of the company was Cellular One. They then went to it was like, oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the company. Cell One, it's like T-Mobile, AT&T, all that stuff. Now they work together, right? Kerlav recruited me out of Valley Forge. Coach McMichaels and Coach Young were the recruiting coaches that had me up in Pittsburgh. So that relationship formed, I want to say, within the workplace of Coach Young and my mother's job. So yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. I forgot all about that myself.
Yeah, I kind of remembered that because obviously, I mean, you played at the same high school as Major, so it's not that if there was a kid that came through Brashear that they were going to miss it, but I knew there was a little extra possibility there. Who besides West Virginia was making strong moves to you? Is Syracuse involved?
Yeah, so Syracuse. All right, so before I left for Valley Forge, because I had already committed to WVU, I was receiving interest from Iowa. Brad, we talked about this a lot. Kirk Ferentz sat in my living room and had a one-on-one talk with my mother and myself about trying to get me out to Iowa. I wouldn't visit it, it was freezing cold. It was all flat. There was nothing there, cornfields and cows. I said I wasn't going.
And you would have handed the ball off to the I-back 40 times and not run it. So good decision. All due respect to Kirk and Iowa.
All due respect.
Now, they did go to a BCS bowl.
Yeah, Brad Banks. Brad Banks was the quarterback. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think he was the guy that they went to go get. It worked out for them. But anyway, Syracuse, Maryland, Pitt. Pitt wanted me to play DB. I wasn't willing to play defensive back. And, I went to Valley Forge. Recruiting opened up all over again. Kansas State came into the picture. Wisconsin came into the picture. It came down to Wisconsin and WVU. Now, I tell the story a lot. Wisconsin had Brooks Bollinger. It's the same year that Ron Daniels. They all went to the Rose Bowl maybe 2 or 3 years in a row. But Brooks Bollinger, who was the starting quarterback for Wisconsin, was a young player. He was like a redshirt freshman. I'm a competitor. I am. But I'm also a realist. I also look at things as a business type of move. Now, I had to be smart. I knew I wasn't going to beat out Brooks Bollinger. He was a Big Ten freshman a year. So nothing against Brad Lewis or Scott McBrien, but I thought my chances would have been a little bit better to get on the field at WVU than a lot of these other places. And that's what happened. In short, recommitted back to WVU. Coach Rod came in, and story's history.
You had an amazing career, 3-year starter, Big East player of the year. In fairness, though, how many of those catches were just on-the-money passes, and how much was Chris Henry making a play? On a pass, you just I'm going to throw it down there. Henry, you get it.
Listen, we can turn on the film, and you can see that ball drop right into the front. 10 of them, you can see that. But now, there were times where I said, listen, number 5 is down there. I know he's going to use that frame to go up and come down with the ball. So, honestly, 85% was calculated throws, you know. Mm-hmm. The other 15 was me saying a prayer, saying, Chris, go get it for me.
Now, Chris Henry, he never pushed off, did he?
Never.
No need. Not necessary.
I'll tell you what, that slant to Chris to beat Maryland was pretty good. It was a dime. You put that right on the money. Tell Kirchhoff that one.
Yeah, give me some credit, Hop.
Right.
I give you credit. I just give you a hard time. What was going on in your head because you had a great running career too, when you would take off, because your north-south was incredible. I mean, what was in your head when you just took off?
Listen, so you guys make this comparison a lot with Pat being more of a wiggle guy. I have wiggle. Now, Coach Rod, listen, I kid you not, Coach Rod programmed me to get north and south as fast as possible because he knew I had the speed to outrun defenders.
Okay.
He didn't want me to slow down. And in his mindset, even with how he approached running the offense, it's just go, faster, go.
Right.
He didn't want me slowing down. He didn't want me trying to make moves. It was just beat the guy in front of you. Yes, if you have to stop, start, whatever, do it. But I would prefer you to just press that gas pedal and go. And after you hear that long enough, that's just what you're going to do. So for me, I was looking for a lane. I was looking for green grass and pay dirt after that.
And you're saying we underrate your wiggle is also the point of that story.
Yeah, because I mean, it was there. I didn't have to use it often because in most cases when I did tuck it and go, it was because I saw a lane or design quarterback run, whatever. But it was just green grass. Get to the end zone as fast as you possibly can.
Will you be involved in any of the uniform design process? You're a big uniform guy. Are you going to get involved in the design process there? Have you worked your way into that yet, or is it too early?
I think it's too early. But listen, if they wanted me on that meeting, I'll be in there. I'll be in there early because we talk about uniforms all the time, Brad. But man, there's so many different combinations you can go with, and just keeping up. That's another part of recruiting today. So you talk about how things have changed. If your uniforms aren't up to par, recruits see that and they don't want to be a part of it because it's all about the look now also. So just to go back a little bit, talking about what we did about the evolution of the game and how these players are so different now. That's another part of it. So
can you what are your limitations? Can you be at the physical practice?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And can you? So go ahead. I mean, but you can't coach, right? I mean, what can you do and what can you not do?
No. So it's a non-coaching role. And here's a fun fact: I haven't touched a football since I've been on campus. I have not touched a football since I've been on campus. There was one ball that was overthrown, or one of the managers dropped. I picked it up, tossed it to him. I have not thrown a football since I've been on campus. Believe it.
I understand. I mean, he's busy.
Blows my mind, but
yeah, busy.
And there's also one thing I do want to say, because I put up a post the other day, and I think some people took it wrong. Now I said, I walked into the building, and this is on day one. Everyone was receptive. Everyone was welcoming. And it made me feel like I was at home. Some people responded as if I didn't know that was my home. Like, listen, I was a player in that building. I understand that is my home. I was saying it from a standpoint of they made me feel at home. If you left your house 20 years ago and you return, your house is going to look, after someone else has been living in it for that long, it's going to look completely different.
That's
the
true.
Spaces are going to be different. How you remember it. They're going to hang pictures and posters. That aspect of it is what I meant. Like, they made me feel at home. New faces, new players. The only person, two people actually, who were in that building when I left was Lori Rice and Dan Nealon.
Yep,
Yeah.
The only two. So when I say they made me feel at home, I know that's my home, but it's been a lot of time and it's been a lot of changes. So
don't pay any attention to that. I mean, you can't say, you should know this by now, Rasheed. You can't say, not just you, one cannot say anything anymore. You can say, I love my mother. Like, oh yeah, right. Like, you don't love your father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't say anything anymore.
If you post, exactly.
We all know you well, and you've been involved in our broadcasts with Brad, for a number of years. I never heard you say anything negative about anybody, even when we bait you.
He's talking.
You tried.
Between me, that's not true, because when I get him privately, he rips you. he really does not like you at all, Hoppy. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the social media ding-dongs. I mean, if you posted today, hey, everybody, it's Monday, you'd get someone go, hey, guess what? It's Tuesday in Japan. I mean, don't waste your breath. Don't waste your breath.
Right. You're exactly right. But
yeah.
Man, I'm looking forward to this, guys. This is going to be a heck of a ride. I'm ready to fulfill this role as best as I possibly can. I just feel like I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of life experience. And, man, the last thing that I'll say that is like a deeper, type of deal here, how I was raised, where I come from, just the whole, first person to go to college from your immediate family. Without athletics, I don't know if I would have been able to go to college, and a lot of these other guys are in the same exact position. Athletics has allowed them, it's afforded them a scholarship to go to some of these big schools, and everything is, they're just looking at things through a narrow scope. So for me to be able to step in and just sit these guys down and open up their minds, open up their eyes to the bigger picture of it all, I think that's what's going to be the big impact, the main impact that I'll be able to make, and to be able to set these guys up for once they are done outside of that building, because I tell them every single day, the real world looks nothing like this. I mean, they're living life around the clock, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, massage. I mean, you name it. They have everything they need in that building. And I think that the main message that I'm trying to give them right now is, you have to, absorb everything, take advantage of all these services that's available to you, but also know that once this is over, life's going to look a lot different if you're not the guy that can make it to the NFL.
1,000%. I was just reading something before we came down in the studio today. WNBA has given the approval to use charter flights for playoff games, which means they go commercial during the regular season. And I was thinking, college kids, WVU kids, they never see a commercial flight, football, basketball. Now, baseball does, other sports do, but football, basketball, they don't see a commercial flight. They've got it better than professional women's basketball players. So you're exactly right, Rasheed. They need to embrace and suck every second out of this experience because it does not get better than this for them for about 98.5% of them.
Yep, that's exactly right. Then, if you're not prepared for it, if you're not looking forward as to, what's life going to look like after this, you're going to be in for a rude awakening.
Yes, you are.
I've seen so many, they're just running in place, or they were running in place after it was all over, still trying to attend pro days 3-4 years later. Like, listen, it's too late,
Yep.
It's bad planning. But, yeah, that's what I'm trying to truly instill into these guys right now. The football aspect of it is going to be there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to making a true impact on these guys.
Here's a line you can give them, and I think this is so true, and I've seen this. Tell them this. When the cheering stops on your last game as a Mountaineer, when the cheering is over, they'll never cheer for you like that again. Because as you know, the day that your eligibility is done, and if you go away for 2 or 3 months, you're just, oh, yeah, after that. So you better take it and use it and prepare yourself, because once the cheering stops and you stop wearing the uniform, it's just different. Not that it's bad, but it's different, so you better be ready for it.
Yeah, now that comes, you have to put a little asterisk at the bottom of that, because unless you're me, you get to run out of the tunnel again in the uniform.
That's
in
true.
Front
He
of
did.
the crowd.
Yeah, debuted the uniform.
You got a good pop on that one. That was a good pop.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some
Guys, here's another one. I've also made my second commitment to WVU. So there's 2 other little caveats there where, hey, they say you only get one. I got 2. I committed 3 times, actually. And you run out of that tunnel after your last one. You think it's all over, but luckily I had another one. But, yeah, you're exactly right. You have to be able to just relay that message. Like, guys, when it's over, it's over. And, see the big picture of it all. Plan, life after football, everything that they have right now, academic services, tutors throughout the building, fabulous academic center in the building. Take advantage, because you're going to need it.
On that note, we're going to cut you loose. You've got work to do. We appreciate your time very much. We'll see you soon.
Guys, always great talking to all 3 of you.
Same here.
Rasheed.
Oh, he included Hoppy in
Did
that.
it? Did I get included?
Yeah, he did. He let you go.
See you, Shade.
Thanks,
Thanks, man.
See you, man.
Thanks, Rasheed.
Later.
Bye. There he is. I don't know why you got to attack him. I mean, the guy's the nicest guy in the world.
He's the nicest.
You question his accuracy. You question his speed. I don't understand it.
He is, because, I mean, we know him pretty well, right? I mean, we know him well because for years, and he was on our broadcast, Brad. I mean, I feel like we know each other well enough that we can tease each other, but because he's such a good guy. But if you poke him a little bit, and he'll respond if you poke him a little
He's
bit.
a competitor.
But he's very competitive. But when I heard he was coming back, Brad, it's just great to have him back in the fold.
It's a great hire. It's a great hire, and I think that all programs need to embrace that. You do need to reach back into the past and have guys that can connect through all of those coaches, as I mentioned. I mean, Rasheed's one of those guys that takes you back a long way, and there's a lot of connections there, yet is still has a cool enough factor to him that he can be relevant in that locker room, because that's the other part of that you need to have. And again, it's a different world over there, as we know, and guys like Rasheed that can be in there that aren't just the coaches, that can be in there helping to mentor and talk to these guys. And is he going to touch everybody in that locker room? No, he's not. He's not going to get to everybody. But there's going to be a few that are going to resonate and that you're going to be able to keep or put on the right path or help further along. I think it's a tremendous hire.
And you can tell also, because of his life experience, what we heard him saying, because of the kind of character we know that he has the right message, Tony, that he can deliver to these guys.
Think about this, the point that he made, that in the building right now, the only 2 people that are still there that were there when he was there, and this is 20 years ago, are Danny Nealon and Lori Rice. the intellectual property that he brings with him as a result of having been there, right? If you don't have those people, to Brad's point, that understand what it means, that understand and get where we have been, you lose out. I mean, Danny Nealon, Lori Rice, Michael Fergale, and me are the only 4 people that have been involved, with the Mountaineers that have not changed over since 1984. So you lose, like, when all you're thinking about is like the most memorable game for you was, oh yeah, in 2002. You need to know how Don Nealon put the foundation down and built the ladder to get where you were, to have a point of reference.
Well, that's a great point. That's pretty stark that you say that. It's critical from a couple standpoints. I just think the best programs have that, and they have that link, and it's not just about what's happened in the last 5 years, but think how fans engage. Fans didn't just start coming along when Neil Brown was hired. They didn't just start coming along when Dana was hired, and since then, some have, but you have some that go back 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and those people, the people that make the program go, are connected through all that time. You have to try and match that as these individual programs to the best you can, and that gets harder every year, I realize.
And when you try to not pay attention to the past, that is oftentimes a cutoff period for fans. Like Neil Brown embraces Don Nealon, right? He embraces Don Nealon. You have to try. That's the bridge.
Yes.
Like if you can't say, if you start going like, Hoppy, 80, for example, 1980 when Don Nealon came here, if you don't realize that he won 6 his first year and then won 9, 9, and 9 and beat Florida and started the whole thing off, and you go to 84 and you beat Doug Flutie, and you go to 87 and you played in the Sun Bowl and it set the season up for 88 to go for the national championship, and then you went through a rebuild and then you peaked back up and Rich Braham and that blue-collar team and Kelchner and Studstill 93 and you played in the Sugar Bowl. If you don't have an idea of where you've been, you can't go forward.
Here's the other thing about Rasheed is that here's a guy, 3-year starter, had a ton of success, Big East Player of the Year, one of the best athletes to come through the door, and I don't want to say couldn't make it in the NFL. Okay, I mean, got drafted, I think 5th round, and
Played a little bit.
Played a little bit, but that also is a life lesson to all those players who think they're going to play in the NFL. Is that it's really, really, really hard to get to the next level. And here's one of the most talented guys to play here, and had a very limited career in the NFL.
Okay, here comes the old man and me, and Brad'll snap at me here. So we've had this we've seen all of these really very good players, as to your point, that have come through. So I have a difficult time nowadays with guys that have either been here recently or currently here who just constantly post and do all this stuff and, talk about, I'm going to do this thing. My thing is like, you make a play. That's my thing. Is like, do you understand who's been here before? Like you're yapping and you're talking like you couldn't get on the field in certain situations based on who we've had here in the past. Like there's opportunity here for you, but do it on the field. We talk so much now, like Grant Wiley, he just grunted for 4 years, right? And he just made play after play after play. And Rasheed made plays. And all those guys that just make plays and you'll be embraced. Do something.
Okay, but when you were 20 and you were going to be a broadcaster, did you I mean, you thought, I'm not sure you can have that. It's hard at that age to have a historical perspective.
Yeah, I guess it's not a historical perspective, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is there's opportunity here for you, but do something. Do something.
All right.
And then you can talk as much as you want, but just go do something. I know, he just gave me the eye. Brad gave me I knew it was coming.
No, I don't disagree with your overall point. It's just not the world you're in, and it's
social changed it.
Yeah, it did, and that's not all the individual's fault that social changed it, but it's just shifted. It's different. It's just different.
You know what isn't different? Burdette Camping. They've been in business for over 40 years, and they're the only dealer in West Virginia that offers a warranty forever. eligibility only lasts nowadays in college sports for 7, 8, 9 years. Just missed my joke. I made it funny there. 7, 8, 9 years. But at Burdett Camping, you buy that RV, travel trailer, fifth wheel, whatever it might be, the warranty lasts forever. And right now, offering an unbelievable $10,000 off on the Forest River Rockwood Ultralight fifth wheel. Check it out at burdettcamping.com. That's burdettcamping.com. Whether you buy that one or any travel trailer, fifth wheel, full RV, whatever it might be, it is warranted forever. Three Guys also brought to us by our good folks at Comax Business Systems. Comax Business Systems, 25 plus years, helping out businesses in West Virginia, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. You know, I'm not going to get into politics here, but Hoppy, you know, over the weekend we saw some information that got out. Probably wasn't supposed to be out. You know, various right, serious things. Like if they put Comax in charge, that senator, you think that stuff's out there?
The Pentagon should be contacting Comax right now. How did this get on? How did our most secret intelligence get on the web?
I'll tell you how. They don't go to Comax. You go to Comax, if you're a business owner, they'll keep your data safe and secure. They'll manage your IT. They'll manage your complete business system. And, of course, digital phone systems are right up their alley, competitively priced. For a free quote, contact Comax Business Systems, comaxwv.com. That's comaxwv.com. At the start of today's episode, we mentioned that Hoppy took an unscheduled, unannounced, unrehearsed field trip over the weekend. Stunning development as Hoppy went to the Mountaineer baseball game. Mm-hmm. How did this come about?
Well, I'm on this thing now of trying to embrace what's happening, embrace things in our community, or Brad's looking at me as though he's stunned. Like,
go ahead.
Senator, what surprised you? What surprised you?
I don't know who's sitting next to me all of a sudden, but go ahead. This is great.
Well, the week off, we went hiking and embraced some things in West Virginia. I thought, this weekend we embraced some things here. We went on a one long hike in Preston County, and we went to. I said, let's go. What do you think about going to the WVU baseball game? First home series.
Yeah,
sure.
Teams playing well.
Yeah. Weather was okay.
Not okay.
Yeah.
And went and had a great time.
Yeah.
Great time. A couple things. One is no charge to park. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Way to go. Way to go, Ebenezer.
Well, that's important. No, I'm with you. Well, that says the guy that's never paid to park in his life, so don't listen to him. Yeah, I'll go ahead and have this conversation.
No charge to park.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, went up, bought tickets there. Where do you want to sit? First base line, a couple seats. Sat there, and there's people around. You're talking to people. It's family day, kids running around. Got a cold beer and a hot dog. And it was a great baseball. It was exciting. West Virginia got up like 3-0. Then Kansas comes back, and Kansas ends up winning the game. But, Brad, there is a lot of action. The final was 10-7.
Sure.
And I tell you one thing about Maisie's team. They're swinging the bats. They are not up there for walks.
They'll run the bases.
They'll run the bases.
Yeah.
And with those metal bats, I mean, there's balls flying all over the place. Great plays.
Now, you didn't get you a foul ball, did you?
Did not. And I'll tell you one thing weird, because we were in that commons area where you can stand up and watch. Did some of that too, where the sky was kind of gray. So when that ball goes up in the air, you lose it immediately. Do not know where it is. Just cover your head. just cover your head.
Well, maybe next time you go, you could wear a hard hat.
Well, but there was a lot of good plays. One play that stood out was a Kansas guy hit this little blooper to short right, and it's the right fielder cannot get to it, nor can the first baseman.
Just out of reach of the first baseman.
Just out of reach.
Boy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, Brad, what's the Kansas runner do?
Rounds first, because he's going to take a look, because as soon as he hits it, he sees it's not caught. I might be able to get 2 out of this if the ball spins off into foul territory. I'm looking for 2. I'm rounding first.
Right, rounding first. What's the pitcher for West Virginia do, Brad?
Very alertly swinging in behind the runner there at first on first base.
Comes to cover first baseman alert, rifles it to the pitcher at first, tags the guy out.
Yeah, because the ball didn't skip into foul territory. It didn't spin. It bounced straight up, and that was Hussey, right? I mean, Hussey caught it, turned and wheeled and threw behind the runner. Kansas guy was a little surprised.
Fans like that.
Yeah, it was a good move.
Fans like that. And the
Great
fans
play.
and the fans were into it. Mountaineer fans, I don't care what it is. If they've taken the time to go, they're going to participate.
They're going to engage.
So they were. They're engaging the ump on balls and strikes, right? They're engaging the ump on balls and strikes. And then if Kansas had something going on like a questionable play or the manager comes out, oh yeah, it goes. So it was exciting. It was fun. It was great fun. I encourage people to come out. It was a lot of fun. I do think they need to do something about the PA.
What do you mean?
I don't think the PA is up to snuff. I mean, when you're standing along, a lot of people stand along the first and third base line in that commons areas, and you can't understand the PA. Can't hear it.
You can't hear when they say, now batting.
No.
The left fielder.
No.
Hoppy.
No.
Kirchhoff.
And they got a pitch clock thing moves along. It's fun.
So you'll go back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in now.
When you
welcome aboard.
When you ate said hot dog and said beer, that was you that went up and ordered it?
Well, I mean,
did you order the beer or did you order the hot dog?
I ordered a beer on my own.
You did.
And then for the second beer, we were together and the wife did all the ordering.
She ordered. Did you ask if they had a Kirchhoff?
No, I didn't see any Kirchhoff there, so
not Sodexo, not selling that yet.
We did get a big old pretzel though. Big old pretzel. It's fun, and I tell you, people are having a good time.
Well, yeah, it's a good time. The weather was nice. I mean, what?
Rolls in here as if it's the first baseball game that's ever been played. Like he's just stunned that it was
first base.
Guys, I did something that is very unusual this weekend. They had a baseball,
and they let people watch it.
And it was fun. And I had a beer and a hot dog.
Might be the
and
first.
there were other people.
Other people at the game, and you know what? They got hot dogs too.
They did.
You
they
guys
had Mountaineer stuff on as well, and we're cheering for the Mountaineers.
It's unbelievable. They let people go watch the
Can't
other.
believe they did this.
Now they let other people come in and watch the other teams play against each other, and they had seats for us too if we wanted to sit down, or we could stand up.
Yeah, you could just walk right up and get tickets.
Yeah. And the players on the two teams that had uniforms on that matched. And they had a gentleman back there behind the catcher, and he would say it whether it was a ball or a strike.
Well, I'm glad you had fun.
I think we should go. I think the three of us should go.
I actually stopped in.
Wait a minute.
I actually stopped in.
But you didn't stay.
I didn't.
Okay, I went. I'm the guy. I guess I went and stayed. Brad didn't go. You went and didn't stay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time was fleeting.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Stadium's been there for a long time. I've been to a couple games. You just went for the very first time, and you're going to bust our chops?
It was my first game.
Right. I mean, I've lost track of how many I've been to, and you're going to bust us for not going on Saturday.
Fair point.
By the way, I did watch it, though.
Yeah, you did.
I did watch it.
I think the stadium's been up since 2007. I think. Does that make sense?
Oh, it's not that old, is it?
Oh.
I mean, maybe it is. Is it that old? Been around that long?
Well, no. Wait, let me think.
That can't be. No, that's not right. Because I was still working there in 2007.
Andy graduated.
It's way past that.
13, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
After that, a little bit after that too. I left in fall of 10.
You got the left field, right field is 325. That metal bat hits the fastball.
Well, you do have to hustle if you're driving out there.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure you get through that left field area very quickly. Like get through.
Flying over.
Oh, it's hit a.
Get through.
It's hit cars out there before. Balls have gone in there. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're on baseball now. Excellent. Excellent.
I'm sorry. It's 2015. Huh?
Yeah.
Only took you 8 years.
No.
Only took you 8 years to get there. 2015.
Probably take another 8 to get back, but
No.
had a good time.
Do you want to do a group trip?
Yeah.
I listened to all the games.
Because your son does the game.
Yeah, I listened. I was in the kitchen. I went over before the game started, wanted to say hi to Brian Haney, the Kansas play-by-play announcer, poked my head in there, saw him. He had a young kid with him from the student radio station that does the games with him. So, kid's a current student. I don't know if he's a junior or a senior. So I said, Brian says, hey, I want you to meet, this young fella. I said, hey, how you doing? And he went, I'm doing extremely well. How are you? Like his voice, I went like, okay, thank you very much. I'll see you later. He had this like boomer voice. Like I'm talking about a Paul Keels at Ohio State voice.
Yeah.
Like, let's pause 15 seconds for station identification on the Ohio State radio network. He had one of those voices. I said, so you bummed out that you got a real high pitched voice? I said,
Who was that man that was
Then
in
I
here?
saw Lanny. Saw Lanny for Terry. Poked my head in there to see Lanny.
Yeah, he and Haney did a half inning together.
He told me he wanted
Yeah.
me to stay, and I said, we'll do it later. I'm going to come back for the TCU
did a
series.
nice job.
Yeah.
Did a nice job with
Yeah,
it.
Brian loves baseball. That's
Well,
good.
this is good news that that Kercheval is now engaged and out and about in the community with the live event coming here on the 21st. So that's huge.
This is
so if you're
like-
coming to this event, your chances of getting some more time with Kercheval have increased because he's now more engaged in the public.
So, exactly. So, you know how the Mountaineer football team is getting ready for the season by going through spring
Yeah.
practice drills?
Yeah.
This is Hoppy's spring practice for his event because he had a little situation on January the 6th, wasn't exactly sure, so he got across the street to the apothecary a little later than most. He wasn't totally wired in, may have left not really super long after. This is priming the pump for our event on April the 21st. He's going to be here when it starts. He's going to be at the apothecary when it starts.
On time.
He's going to stay longer, I guarantee you, because I will absolutely post his ass up in there, and he will not leave until we feel it's time for him to leave. So for those of you that are coming in and haven't gotten in your tickets yet, I guarantee you that he will be there. If you'd like to check him out, tickets available, the number 3, guysbeforethegame.com.
So he'll be
Fair
there.
statement?
Yeah, I think that is fair. So he'll be there on time for the first pour.
Yes.
Of Kercheval.
Well, or in this case.
Yeah, what are we doing? Have we decided that? Is it going to be a pour? Or are we going to pop
Probably
because
pop the top.
the new cans will
That's
be
what
available.
we're doing. These are going to, each person that comes is going to get a 4-pack of the 16-ounce cans. Label is going to be done, I think, the 15th, so 5 days from now. Label's done, label's designed. It's really nice, plus all the swag bag that people are going to be getting, plus
Great barbecue.
great barbecue.
Now,
and
how
just,
would I get in on that if I wanted to come to said event?
You're in.
We are in.
No, I'm asking
Oh, you just go to-
rhetorically. If,
you just
for
go to-
individuals who
the
want
people
to,
listening that
the
want to get
people
tickets.
listening, yeah.
I see.
The number 3, guysbeforethegame.com. Boom, it's there. You hit the event, tickets available. Boom, you're in. We'd love to have you. It's going to be
Oh, it's
fun.
going to be nice, so we can sit outside.
Yes, that's what. Did you look ahead? You haven't looked ahead.
Forecast looks pretty good. I
What's
don't want
that
to
got?
jinx
They
it.
got a
Look ahead
nice-
too early. It looks.
yeah, they got a
I mean,
nice-
if that thing opens up outside, we're gonna have some other couple surprises there along with it. That be
What?
You get a couple surprises, things.
See if we can get Rasheed to come. Sweeten the pot a little bit.
Well, it's the night before the spring game. He might be busy.
All right.
I'm anxious to see those cans. That'll be big.
Cans are nice.
I think people are gonna like those cans.
Oh, I got to tell you my story. So Friday before the Sport Line, before I hosted Sport Line on Friday, I'm going to go get some Kercheval.
Before the show?
Well,
to have for the
bring
weekend.
for the weekend.
To have for
Oh,
the
okay.
weekend.
For
He
the
wasn't.
weekend.
He wasn't consuming before the show.
No.
I don't think.
No,
Were you?
no. Because Friday was a non-work day
Right.
here, except for
Except for
was?
those of us.
except for those
Except
of
for
us.
work.
First I've heard of that.
The what do you call it?
Mean
Rank and
non-work
file.
day.
The rank and file got the day off,
Wasn't
which is
aware.
cool. So I drive over to Chestnut Brew Works.
Okay.
I have my growler with me, my Kercheval growler, right? I walk in, and you know Amber.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amber, she's terrific.
Yes.
And so I walk in, and as I open that door, there's some people there. I look over at the tap room bar behind there, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and suddenly she had a look of fright on her face.
Uh-oh.
And she went, hi. I went, hi, Amber. Can I get this filled with Kercheval? And she had that look come over her face that was probably similar to the look that she gave you when you came over to say,
We know what that means.
like there's that song, we have no bananas today. We have no Kercheval. They're out
Sold out.
at the mothership. At the
Ooh,
mothership.
yeah.
Now, I know if I went across the concourse into the brew room that those big tanks
Yeah, because it's
it's brewing. It's
Mhm.
being made. Another batch is being made, but I couldn't get it.
Did you go to see Al at Jeans?
they facilitated that for me. Yes, Jeans had it. Jeans.
So somebody got it for you.
Excuse me?
You said they facilitated.
There was a young lady with Amber. She got on the phone. It's only West Virginia. She goes, "You want me to call over to Al's?" Now, she didn't work there, and she had a chihuahua in her hand. She had a chihuahua here.
Yeah.
And she goes, "You just want me to call over at Al's?" So yeah. So she calls Al.
While holding the chihuahua?
While holding the chihuahua, she goes, "Hey, Al, you guys got Kercheval?" Uh-huh. "Oh, you're not? Okay, fine. I'll call over there." So she goes, "Al's not there, but hang on. I'll just call over it." So then she goes, "Hey, what's up?" She goes, "It's Emily. You guys got Kercheval? Would you mind pouring a growler?" Because I guess in the beer tap business, they're not crazy about pouring growlers. I guess they just want to pour drafts. She goes, "Okay, fine." Took care of it. That's West Virginia.
So you did get a growler.
Available. Yeah.
But I tell you, this whole thing about accessing Kercheval is becoming an issue.
Well, that's why we're saying that you got to come to the event. The event, they are definitely having Kercheval at the event, correct? I can say that? We're clear that there's going to be Kercheval on tap and in cans.
On tap and in cans, yes.
So you want to make sure you get it? We'll see you on the 21st.
Otherwise,
along
it's kind
with
of
great
a
food.
kind of a scavenger hunt.
Yeah. I
Try
mean,
to
I
find
was, it was,
Like, it's not here. Let's try over there.
All right, so how do you get these tickets again? Say it again.
The number 3, guysbeforethegame.com. Pretty simple. 3, guysbeforethegame.com.
We'll see you on the Friday the 21st before the spring game.
I'm looking forward to it. Weather's going to be nice. I went over to Apothecary for a little meeting last week, and it was a nice night. I just walked in, and then after I was there, I looked outside into the courtyard, just beautifully fenced
And those
in.
nice lights up out there.
Packed.
Yeah. Well, that's big.
Packed.
I stopped in there Friday.
This Friday?
We stopped in Friday after we went to see Air.
Oh, you went to see Air?
Yeah. Absolutely worth seeing, especially for those of us who were in that era. So absolutely. Yeah. Very entertaining. And maybe not Oscar movie, but very entertaining. You can relate to all aspects of the story.
Yeah.
Even though there's some complaints that maybe Vaccaro's getting more the Vaccaro character is getting more credit than he should, that maybe there are others where Nike should get some more credit. I mean, there's some issues surrounding that, but still, it's a good story. Then afterward,
you have been out and about.
Oh, yeah.
So you went to a movie,
movie.
public. Then you go to dinner.
No, went to dinner first, then went to the movie, and then went to the Apothecary and had a they didn't have any Kercheval. Had a beer. Oh, but I've been out.
Yeah,
I've been out.
Holy heck, it's almost like you're living a life.
Yeah, busy weekend.
Incredible.
Good. All right. It'll be refilled by April 21st when we see everybody there.
Yeah, ready to go. One of the special guests at our event on April 21st will be the creator of this song. And get your picture made with David Saab.
If we're outside, we should pump this music in outside there for a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Weather's turning. I think it might be nice.
Yeah, it's turning. Grass is growing.
Dandelions are out.
Yeah, beautiful. Ready for some text?
Yep.
Let's do this thing. Gentlemen, with the basketball season behind us, I thought I'd check in, see how things are going with the gift I sent this winter. You'll remember in my note, I extolled the virtues and medicinal qualities inherent in Colorado candy. Relaxation, sleep, pain control. It really is a superfood. But if I'm being honest, what I really want to know is how has Hoppy's experience been? I honestly thought it could be the shot of courage he needed to triumph over his Subway situation. On just one half of a gummy, my hope for Hoppy was maybe the ability to point and articulate a sandwich selection along with the choice of bread. To be clear, I had no expectations the candy would somehow unlock Hoppy's ability to engage the employee in the fixins line or execute the "do you want to make it a meal" question at the register. Let's get real. This is THC, not Winter Warlock's magic reindeer feed or other such sorcery. I look forward to hearing from you. Great basketball season of shows. Signed, Frank from Boulder. Now I'm Frank from Huntington Beach. Different state, same access. Hoppy.
I tried one.
Excuse me?
Tried one. Didn't work for me.
What do you mean by this?
I just mean that I tried one, and this was not long after we got him, which was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
And nothing happened for a couple hours. Then I started to feel kind of weird, and did not interest me. And I don't want to go in too much more detail because then it's about my past in college. And it was.
What do you mean by that?
What's happening right now?
Wait, let me ask you this, dude.
Yeah.
I think I know what happened.
What happened?
You took the wrong one. Here's what happened.
What, did you take one?
No, not yet. He sent us 2 containers, right? I brought the two containers up to your desk, right? One was chill out. One was relaxation. The one was relaxation, and the other was get you fired up. You, Mr. Let's split everything up. You poured both bottles out. You mixed them all up, and then you said, here, you take half, I'll take half. So when you mixed them up, you thought you were taking one for chill out,
Yeah.
but you took one that made you more excited. That's why you had an effect that you weren't expecting. That's what I submit.
It's quite possible. I mean, the effect is that, I mean, again, I'd have to go back in my history, but that I don't want to think any more than I already do. And when you, I'm not going. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there.
I don't want to think any more than I do. Apparently, based upon that comment, it was making you think more than you wanted to. Fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole paranoia thing.
Yeah, didn't need it.
I don't need it.
Well, Frank, if you've got something in your selection that may alleviate that, let us know. Texter.
Can you cut that out?
No, it's staying. Texter.
Why do I say these things?
Texter. Searching
I
for...
was once a respected newsman.
Well, yeah, but before that, you were a crazy-ass college kid. High-level crazy-ass college kid.
Yeah.
Question, or texter, searching for Kirchhoff while I was skiing in Vermont, no avail, didn't find any, but I ran across this. Apparently, Hoppy's nemesis, the other Dean Steinkühler, has beaten him to the punch on canned beer. I can't confirm his involvement, but I'm efforting. So that was a Dean Swinecooler, signed by Jonathan, landowner with oil and gas mineral rights in Ritchie County.
Wow.
So Dean beat us to the canned beer?
Yeah, that's a Dean Swinecooler.
Yeah.
I mean, is it really, Dean?
No, I just made it up. It's called Pro Pig.
It is called a swine cooler, though.
Yeah. Jonathan in Charleston wrote that one in there. Texter, hey, 3 guys, not sure if any of you all or will know this, but I am curious about the $99 deposit for basketball season tickets I keep seeing. After the $99 deposit, do you or any of you know how much more is needed later or where I can find that out? The WVU Sports homepage doesn't have much help on this. Thank you, Ellen. Senator, you used to work in that world.
I don't know the answer. I'm sure more will be needed later, but I would call the ticket office first. WVU ticket office.
Yeah. Just go to WVUgame.com, I would think, and that will help you. Probably got a phone number there where they could call. They'd be more than happy to help you there.
Sure.
Texter from Pete in Pennsboro. Simple question. Would you rather trade places with Danny Hurley or Bobby Hurley? So you go Danny, who just won the world championship, or Bobby, who's efforting it at Arizona State.
And is one of the all-time great players.
One of the all-time great players. Which would you rather be? I'd rather be Hoppy. But if you had to pick one of the two, Danny or Bobby?
I don't have a good answer for you on that. I can't answer that.
Rather be Danny or Bobby?
Really amazing career by both. Danny financially was a little more better for his. Well, I don't know. Bobby.
Danny's about ready to crack. Danny, what do you mean?
What?
You think Bobby may have gotten some pre-NIL?
No, that didn't happen pre-NIL. That never happened. Nobody did that.
They're both lit up, man. I mean, they're both very emotional. Oh, wait. The question is, would you rather trade places with Danny Hurley or Bobby Hurley? My answer could be neither, right? Center?
Well,
Is that fair?
Again, you know my stance on that. You don't have to answer the question. You can answer it any way you want.
Yeah, neither. Texter. Hi, three guys. Josh from the Twins.
Right, Hoppy?
Yeah.
I don't always answer the question he asked me.
I mean,
answer it how I want to answer.
Well, that's because, Brad, you're very skilled at saying, here's the question you should be asking, and just redirect.
But
you redirect.
I think Pete's asking that because it really is an interesting just sports radio discussion because of, Bobby with that unbelievable college playing career, Danny always in the shadow of Bobby's playing career, but now here comes Danny on the coaching front that has got to the mountaintop more quickly and won a national championship, while Bobby, also in coaching, hasn't been able to reach that level. Really is an interesting family dynamic there. So I understand.
You do have an answer.
No, I understand the question.
Okay.
Texter. Hi, three guys. Josh from the Twin Cities. I watched the Mark Kellogg introduction on YouTubes, and he did write YouTubes. Looks like a genuine guy, and hope that he will be the right fit for the program. My question is more about the part of the answer that Ren Baker made when discussing the popularity of women's basketball. He also mentioned how popular softball has been getting. Is this perhaps just that, a passing comment, or perhaps a show that the AD has been working toward adding a softball program to West Virginia?
By the way, Coach Kellogg was at the ballpark this weekend.
Heard he threw the first pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Heard he hummed it in from 60 feet, 6 inches.
Nice.
He didn't, no small boy stuff where he stepped in front of the mound. He just brought it. I think it might have had a little movement on it.
I think he might have come in relief.
You can never have too much pitching.
That's right.
So to answer your question,
there are no rules, so.
The last time this topic was brought up about softball, it's just dollars and cents. And I don't think that there's any movement toward doing that because of just the cost of doing it. Would it be great? Yeah, it'd be awesome. It'd be fun. I mean, heck, we got a couple of girls from here in the state right now that are playing high-level Division I. So could we get it done? Yeah. But just financially, the reality of it is that if you were to do it, it would be about a $2 million expense every year on your budget, and it would not generate dollars. So probably really hard. When people ask this question a lot of times, it's like if someone were to step up and put just a crazy donation in to say, I want to start a softball program, you could do it, but it would have to be an astounding number for it to carry through. And I always use the reference point of Penn State in hockey. Penn State didn't have big boy hockey. And the Pagula family that owns the Bills and the Sabres, they're Penn State people, they stepped up and said, we want to have hockey. And they just put a crazy number in, like $25 million type thing to get it going. That's how I could see it happening.
If West Virginia ever gets to the point where it wants to add sports, softball is going to be right near the top of that list. The texter is right. The popularity, it is just booming. And you just watch TV, right? Where's the money come from now? TV. It's amazing how that's gone from televising the Women's College World Series down into the Super Regionals, down into regular season games. Now there's multiple games on every single weekend. It's a great sport. It moves fast. It would be a great addition. But you're right. You say the $2 million, but you're 100% on it. It's not just $2 million right now.
Every
You've
year.
got to make sure you have it in enough perpetuity that the thing doesn't go away after 3 years. So you've got to keep that going. You also, one of the reasons that you got down to a certain number of sports is you want to be able to fund those sports to the best of your ability to make them competitive. So it's not about just adding another one. You want to make it competitive without hurting the other sports you have. So that number that you said, times that by maybe 10 or 15 or 20 to make sure the thing is going.
Plus,
it really
plus
is
facilities. You got to start with the facilities.
You're going to have to build a facility. So to be quite honest with you, this is just stupid general. Don't hold any numbers. You probably you would need $20 million, a $20 million principal. And if you were able to get 10% off of that money every year to make $2 million off of it, you would probably need 20 at a bare minimum. You probably need $30 million to get $3 million a year to run the program. So it's a crazy number.
And Brad, back to your point, if West Virginia tried to do it, if you announced it on Tuesday, on Wednesday, the coach of every other program would be in your office. What are you doing that for when I need X?
Yes.
And that's one of the things you have to juggle, and it's unfortunate because that would be a great addition to the athletics program here for a sport that's big in the Big 12, that is big nationally, that you'd love to have, that is really popular among kids in the state of West Virginia. And Tony, you mentioned it. There's a lot of really talented softball players, not only playing in the state coming up, but playing at the high major Division I level that are out there.
Plus, there's somebody we know in this group that is currently mentoring.
Currently coaches softball. I forgot all about that.
The young ladies playing softball.
Senator could be a lead candidate.
Great sport.
Texter, Charlie from Midlothian. Scope spreads hoppy. Getting back to a caller recently, or a texter, about this whole gas thing, illegally filling up gas with Kroger points. As for Curtis in Portland suggesting we might be filling up 2 Ford Festivas, we did own a Pinto wagon at one point. We are not. Nor are we filling up a Burdette Camping RV fifth wheel, although the $10,000 off would be enticing if I already owned a Ford 250 from Mark LaRose Ford and Gasaway. Here's a picture of the wife's vehicle on the opposite side. Many of our friends, there we go. Many of our friends are going this and others that I do not even know. After a little family R&R at Virginia Beach last week, I went to Kroger to fill up before heading back to Midlothian. I think Kroger may be on to me. I was only able to deduct $1 off the price per gallon. Bummer. My brother and his wife were returning from a weekend getaway. We're driving down I-79. When he called, they were passing Shinston. I asked him to stop at the Flatwoods Gomart and pick up a Slim Jim fly rod. Second picture shows me at the shows him at the Gomart. Yeah. He's only holding the standard size. The store clerk told him they were actually totally out of the 4-foot-long Slim Jim fly rods.
Sold out.
And didn't even know when they were going to get a new supply. So not only is Kurt Chevelle hard to come by at times, but so are the fly rod Slim Jims until the next show. Buddy Holly out.
Yep.
There you have it.
So that's his brother. That's not Charlie. We'd love to see what Charlie looks like. I'm sure he's a dandy.
Fly rod Slim
We say
Jim.
many times to all potential advertisers listening, we're just here to move product.
That's
all we do.
Be it Kurt Chevelle, be it Fly Rod Slim Jims. Next thing you're going to hear, the Reese's eggs are going to be sold out all over. Won't be able to get those. Yeah. Better go get those soon.
So many different things
just
going on.
Here to help. We're here to help.
We've really embraced the sponsorship at Gomart. They've teamed up with Reese's, by the way, to give away big prizes during Marty's Egg Extravaganza. Coming up, we got 2 tickets to Morgan Wallen. Just check it out. Go to gomart.com/3guys. You can sign up for your rewards card. You can sign up for all the stuff they're giving away. Probably going to get a little reduction now that Easter's happened on those Reese's.
I got a big old pack of them from the Easter Bunny.
Easter Bunny was good to you?
Mm-hmm.
Girls had baskets?
Yeah, they did. Nice to leave me a big pack.
Oh, that's nice.
Texter. Coaches can have so much influence on a young person's life. People often say that next to their parents and other family members, their coach had more impact on their life than anyone else. Marion County recently losing a legend in Roy Michael. He was the man I called coach, as did thousands of others. And Mark, thanks for sharing. We talked a lot about Roy on Sportsline, but you're right. He molded dudes for generations. And obviously Rich Rod, his most prominent North Marion Husky, who went on to a great coaching career. So, again, just a tremendous, successful run. National champion quarterback at Fairmont State. Won it at the old stadium in the late 60s. Just a wonderful, wonderful career. Crazy coaching success, wrestling and in football.
Note the passing, too, of course, of Billy Hahn.
Billy Hahn, we talked a good bit about that on Sportsline on Friday night. Billy passed on Friday, late Friday afternoon, and look at that. There's Roger Ayers and Billy. Is that a classic Billy?
That's a I was just going to say that's a great.
His arms out to his side was classic Billy Hahn.
That's a great Billy Hahn picture.
There's one of the great officials right there. So condolences to the family of Billy Hahn. There's Fran Fraschilla, Danny Nee, and Billy. Billy to the far right, Fran to the left, and Danny Nee in the middle when they were at OU in the early 1980s. And the mock turtleneck and hugs, and Billy served there. And there's Joey Missoula with Billy. It was one of a kind. There ain't going to be any more Billy Hahns.
I texted you over the weekend. Mike Bray, former Notre Dame coach, had texted about his most vivid memory of Billy Hahn was a hug and a dance that he did after beating Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium when Bray was an assistant there. And I had told the story on Friday. I was at the University of Connecticut at the time watching it with a member of the Connecticut Athletic Department who had been at Maryland, and I had just accepted the job at Maryland, but I hadn't left yet. And we were watching that game where Billy was the interim head coach in for Gary Williams. It was just a very memorable game, great basketball game. Maryland won, the celebration after, but Billy, as Billy did, just sweating through his suit, just absolutely drenched through his suit, just up and down the sidelines. I found that interesting that Bray referenced that as his most vivid memory of Billy Hahn, that he'd always remember him dancing at midcourt at Cameron after
I didn't
that
realize
win.
they won on a tip-in. That's how they won that game.
Yep.
Wow.
Great
We
game.
saw him at the state high school basketball tournament.
Yeah, he was down
He
there.
was there
talked about
with
that.
the Morgantown boys.
Another guy, Hop, involved, but in the background in sports that we lost yesterday is Dr. Roger Toffel.
Yeah.
And Dr. Toffel, well-known OBGYN doctor here at WV, worked for WV Medicine through the years, but a massive supporter of WVU's club hockey program.
That's right.
I mean, huge support. Came from Minnesota and made his life down here at WVU, and he was the just a huge fixture in the fertility program at WVU. And a lot of babies walking around came through the work that Roger did at WVU Medicine, and just a fantastic supporter, listener through the years. And so our condolences to the family. He had battled prostate cancer for years and passed away this weekend. From the text line, Tony and Brad, DNP Kercheval. DNP CD Kercheval.
That's a good one.
I'm at the bottom of the roster.
DNP.
For those that don't know, DNP is did not play. So in a box score, oftentimes it'll say DNP. Let's see, Hoppy Kercheval, DNP CD means did not play. Coach's decision. Hoppy's infrequent visits to this show had this texter saying DNP. Anyway, I've been listening to the discussion of the W.VA abbreviation for the state over the last few episodes. I'm surprised that nobody has chimed in with this information. As I was taught at the prestigious college formerly known as the Pearlie Isaac Reed School of Journalism at WVU, W.VA is the preferred abbreviation for the state of West Virginia according to the Associated Press and AP style book when writing. If the writers are following those guidelines, that would explain why it shows up in the dateline of articles written about WVU. Mr. Kercheval.
Thank you.
On a completely unrelated note, stunner here that someone's going off the reservation. I work for a home remodeling company that primarily specializes in kitchens and baths here in the D.C. area. I manage social media and digital content for my company, so I always get to go into the homes of our customers and see their finished projects. A few months back, I was in one customer's brand new kitchen. So I was walking around the kitchen. I noticed that the front of their new refrigerator was virtually empty, except for one magnet off the side. And to prove that there's always a West Virginia connection, the magnet was the shape of a police car, and across the side of the car it said Westover Police Department. Had a phone number with a 304 area code. I quickly identified and mentioned it to the customer, who informed me that her nephew is a police officer in Westover. The West Virginia connections come up when you least expect. As always, thanks for another great show, signed by Dan in Damascus, Maryland.
Always a West Virginia connection.
Yeah.
Turning
Dan,
into almost literally. Always a West Virginia connection.
Did you come up? Is there any West Virginia connection with Coach Kellogg? I haven't come up with one yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Go ahead. Do you remember it? The Bridgeport?
Yeah. So his first coaching job, he got hired out at West Texas A&M State University Technical College by a Bridgeport native.
Because of course he did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
In West Texas. That's the natural progression.
Of course.
That there would be somebody from Bridgeport at that school that would hire him, then he would then return here. And that coach's family still lives in the Bridgeport area because of course they do.
And
of course they do.
And that person that hired him was on staff at Texas Tech on their basketball staff last season.
Really?
Yep.
That's what I mean.
Always.
It's turning into literally.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah. Always.
Brooks Koepka yesterday had the lead. I mean, his dad's from Bridgeport.
Really?
You didn't know that?
You didn't know that one?
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Dad went to school at Wesleyan.
Great tournament. Rough day yesterday.
Yeah.
That last day at the Masters, man. It's a tough day.
Yeah.
How about Lefty?
He came through.
65.
How'd you do on your wagers?
Did well. Thank you for asking.
How do you bet on golf?
Oh, my God. How do you bet on golf? I mean, there's a million ways. It's a great betting sport.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because you don't just pick. I mean, you can throw a little bit on the outright winner, but that's obvious. That's hard to get. But the live betting's tremendous. There's matchups between two golfers. There's matchups by the best performance in a group. There's
What was your best
20.
wager during the Masters?
I don't know. I mean, I had a bunch. I mean, one of them was I had pre-tournament. I had Rahm as the top continental European. You can bet on best by nationality.
Well, you cash that ticket.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a really fun betting
Can you
sport.
bet shot? Can you bet holes?
Can I say John Rahm's going to birdie 8?
Yes, there is some of that available. There is some of that as you're going along. I didn't.
You don't mess with that?
No, I didn't mess with that. Not watching closely enough.
Did you have one? Did you have like a? Did you have 2 pine trees will fall down between people?
Wow, that was amazing and scary.
Stunning.
Stunner that no
You
one
see it,
got
Hop?
hit.
Well, I saw that the tree fell down and
There was one person who was standing in the middle between the 2 trees.
Wow,
Unbelievable.
fun tournament.
Texter, hey 3 guys, I just finished the Eric Stevenson episode. He really should have been a Mountaineer the whole time. Perfect fit. And with his visit to the set, he tied Hoppy in the number of appearances on 3 guys, if my count is correct. Some other observations. First is the reward points program usually have a 30-gallon limit per purchase, but also state 1 car per use. Second, attacking everyone under the sun about everything is not bringing people together. I'm looking at you, Tony. Lastly, Courchevel will be fine in cans, but will it be available in stores locally soon? Thanks for all you do, Jim in Preston County. So I wrote back to him and said, funny, I was going to start attacking people named Jim in Preston County. And he said, bring it, big boy. I got leather skin.
Oh, there you go.
Love Jim. Jim's always texted very creatively and funny. Thank you, Jim.
Hey, people are walking out of that event with cans, right? That's part of the deal.
That's just a small portion.
That's one of the things they get, though, is their own cans.
You get a 4-pack. You get a 4-pack of the 16-ounce cans plus some exclusive 3 guys swaggage
Stuff.
Yes, I'm efforting it. I'm increasing. By the way, I've kind of gone off the template, making some phone calls.
I mean,
making some phone calls myself to put even more stuff into the bag. You guys don't need to know what it's going to be, but I'm efforting on that. You know, kind of like the Italian grandmother when you leave the house. And I also want you to have a little bit of this. Besides the lasagna, I also made you
these are cookies.
This and this. Take this.
So you're just handling that?
As my dad would say, eat this for me. I told you about the 8-pack of beer and the pepperoni, right?
No.
Never told you about that?
No.
So my dad at the store, you know, he'd always take care of people, right? Like, you take care of me, I take care of you. Old school. Genesee used to have 8-packs. You ever seen that? Did you know? People always don't talk about 6-packs, 12-packs. Genesee made an 8-pack of bottles. Trust me, I know. I used to fill the cooler with 8-packs. So, like, when someone come in and take care of my dad or something, they'd done something, my dad would always, like, walk in the back, get a big shopping bag, big paper shopping bag, 1/6 shopping bag. He'd open it up. He'd go walk
Just
in
start
the back.
putting stuff in there.
Walk in the back cooler, get an 8-pack or 2, then go to the meat, go behind the counter of the meat thing, take out, like, sticks of pepperoni. And he'd put it in there and put it back, and he'd wrap it up. And he'd go to the guy, and he'd say, you eat... And there's a broken accent. You eat of this and drink of this for me. And they give him the tap.
Nice.
Like, that's almost like as close to being a made man as you could be.
Yeah.
Because you get the beer, so you drink and you eat of this for me. So I'm putting a little bit of that in our swag bag.
You're doing that.
You eat of this and you drink of this for me.
And you're just going to handle it.
I got it.
All right. Well, that's a nice old bonus.
It is.
Now, granted, we're into hour 4 of this episode, so I don't know how many people are still listening and heard that, but that's a nice little bonus.
Sure.
I need to put that out as a clip.
Hey, 3 crazy guys.
Since it's bedtime here in 20
First time texting, this guy says. First time texting. My wife
I
and
got to leave for a baseball game.
I think our event on the 21st is in 4 minutes.
Hey, 3 crazy guys. First time texting. Ooh, first time. My wife and I were in the Honolulu airport a couple of weeks ago, and my wife says, listen, I suddenly understand what she was wanting me to listen to. It was Country Roads being played on a ukulele. That was different. I love you guys. Love listening to Coach Stevenson. Keep up the great work. Jim in Dunbar, originally from Parkersburg, and we own property in Jackson and Kanawha County.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't you?
Of course you do.
Texter, East Bank guy. Tony, NIL really means free agency with no salary cap. Justin from Princeton, New Jersey writes, last month, I'm at the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. I noticed a guy in a black pullover, silver flying WV on it. I chatted him up, found out he was Rich Rod's ex-high school teammate in both football and basketball. He was traveling for business with the FBI. Great stories he shared about Rich Rod and how he thinks a return to WVU coaching is in the cards if Neil loses a few games early. In the Phoenix airport, there's always a West Virginia connection. Hoping to make it to Morgantown this year for a game and some tasty hoppy
I
beers.
thought he was going to say P1 Jason was in the Phoenix airport. Isn't that one of his hubs?
He's out in Oklahoma now. Jason,
So he's not going to Phoenix anymore?
that project might be over. Don't know. He's a project manager. Michael in Culloden just listened to the Eric Stevenson interview. It's a shame he didn't have more time here. That's a consensus. The people are going like,
yeah.
They're right.
he's a guy, in my opinion, that epitomizes once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer. Great show as always, but this one will always mean a little extra because Eric is the Class A individual. By the way, let me know when Stats is out of Reese's eggs, and I'll effort some peanut butter fudge his way.
Well, he just got
Thank you.
fresh
Thank you.
supply.
I did get a supply.
Are there any left?
Yes.
Okay.
This one's kind of
Pacing.
long. This one's kind of
What's that?
long. I'll do
Pacing
it.
myself.
Oh, good.
Texter. I was captain of the 1991 George Washington High School basketball team. Fond memories of beating then number 3 Oak Hill and Stuff Lynch on the hill, holding Randy Moss's brother Eric to 13 points while Jason Williams watched from the stands, most likely with a basketball in his hands. I had to pay for college myself. The Army and the GI Bill seems to be my best option. So being a varsity athlete, I figured basic training would not be too challenging. Boy, I was wrong. My body endured things I didn't know it was capable of. Then there was Desert Storm. I went to basic training, Fort Jackson, extreme heat, lots of sand, chemical warfare training. I was amazed at the training's effectiveness to kick ass and take numbers. My girlfriend in West Virginia wrote me 1 or 2 letters a day about how much she loved and missed me. Well, she didn't miss me too much because she was cheating on me with a 6'10" basketball player from West Virginia Tech.
This took a turn.
I was sorry to hear that. I knew then I would not make a career in the armed forces. I'd never seen the country so divided. I'd like to remind everyone we share so much more in common than we don't. Question for Hoppy if he's there. What is it about being from West Virginia that makes it so special? It feels like we are our own country. My wife calls me a West Virginia magnet. If there's a West Virginian close by, we'll find each other, become kindred spirits, and almost end the conversation with a hug. My collective group of guys wants to go to Happy Valley for the game this year. I simply can't justify spending over $2,000 to attend a game that I think is out of reach. Now Pitt and Milan Pushkar with a strong offensive line, dual threat QB, and C.J. Donaldson, that gets me excited. I can't wait to beat the snot out of those Panthers with over 60,000 of my kindred spirits there. See you in the blue lot, signed by Yogi Chris in Salt Lake City.
You think that Pitt game looms large?
Yeah, it'll be a big one.
Big one.
A big one. Last few. Guys, great interview with Eric Stevenson. Impressive, such a strong person in many ways. We as Mountaineers wish him great success in all that he does. He fits right in as a West Virginian and a Mountaineer. Great show, guys. Bud in Lexington. Yeah, we're getting great. If you haven't listened to the Eric Stevenson one, you should. That was exactly what we'd hoped, plus more. He was super good.
Yes.
Locked in. Texter. Hey, guys. I was with my 82-year-old dad when I saw this in his office. Never saw one like this before. Look at that one.
That's awesome.
But the size thing is...
Yeah, that's why it's
come
different.
off.
Well, it's not come off. That's how it works.
There's an extra piece like that?
Yeah, it's invisible. That's invisible. It holds, it comes
No.
out. Yeah, Hop. That's what it does.
That doesn't seem right.
Nah, really.
So good.
Texter. My last 2 submissions missed the cut. But the Stevenson episode was so good I had to listen twice to play 3 guys bingo. Stevenson was around so long he played against West Virginia in 2019 in Cancun, and he was the leading scorer for Wichita State with 22. He also played against South Carolina in that same tournament.
Gosh.
I don't think any other guy has played for 4 schools and also played against 2 future alma maters. Truly, a college hoop renaissance man signed by Joe and Charleston. There he is. He hit the bingo, 3 guys bingo, but he went back and he listened to all of them.
We did that last show or 2 shows ago. Yeah, that was on there.
Woo! Stevenson did. Stevenson checked a lot of boxes.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
I mean, not only for what he said in the interview, but where he played and who he played against, and just guys who've been around.
Senator and I talked this morning while I was walking. Charles Barkley called him. I said, dude, here's a rundown, 3 guys. And he gave me the classic response that has happened, not all 456 episodes, but it probably happened about 350. It was this one. It'll be a short one. It'll be a short episode. We're at 1:45, Senator.
Sportsline started 10 minutes ago.
So all I'm left to do is hit this music and get on out of here. 3 guys before the game with a special Rasheed Marshall appearance brought to us by Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit burdettcamping.com. Take advantage of that $10,000 off offer right now on that Forest River Rockwood Ultralight 5th wheel. Or the great values they've got on travel trailers, 5th wheels. Brought to us by GoMart. We love Reese's. You love Reese's. We all love Reese's. Eat some Reese's. Get the sign up by going to gomart.com/3guys.com and get in on all the value that they're offering. Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. Check them out at comaxwev.com. And by the folks that sell family fun. Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans, the premier pontoon dealer in the great state of West Virginia. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. They sell the Avalon boats made here in America. LouWendellMarineSales.com. All right. If we've done so many shows. This show's so long, we did 2 shows in one. So we'll try to be back later.
I listen to a history podcast.
Yeah.
Periodically. They get World War II done in 28 minutes.
Yeah, it might have gone.
So are we doing another one this week, or we don't know, to be determined?
TBA. We may or may not. I'm gone next week, like for a good chunk of next week.
Oh.
I got to go north.
First I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Go north.
Got to go north.
Okay.
I'm going up to the alma mater.
Oh, this is your big honor?
Oh, that's next week?
Yeah, I'm going up there. Haven't been there since West Virginia left the Big East. Yeah. So we'll figure that out. We'll be around. We'll be around. You be around. We'll be around. We'll be around. See you.